So what we're coming upon is a time where it's going to be even more necessary than what it's been for us to trust ourselves. If you think that a company or even like an author of a book, or hell, even me, why not? My entire point of ever even getting on here is to tell you that you've been sold a lie, which is that you're not worthy, and that you are a magnificent being who hasn't done anything wrong and who's actually here for a bigger purpose than you could probably ever even imagine for yourself. But don't take my word for it. Like, not because I say so. You have to be the one that says so. You have to know it. You have to. No one is ever going to care for you the way that you can care for yourself. What's the tea? What's the shade? Okay, let's find my water. Honestly, if you're being truthful with yourself, are you getting enough water? Holy shit. Hold up. Can't have all these fucking spiders in my house. I just can't. He's small. Should I leave him? Who's that boy? La 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 la. God, you're gorgeous. I just ate, so I could have something in my teeth. I don't know. Oh well. I don't think that you should believe anything that doesn't resonate with you. I don't think that you should think or have the perspective of anything that doesn't resonate with you. And I can't tell you what resonates with you. The people in media can't tell you what resonates with you. There's not a spiritual leader, a religion, an entity that exists that can tell you what resonates with you. That's a beautiful thing. It's actually quite sickening, if you want to know the truth, darling. I don't believe that there's people put on this earth just to be ornamental, just to exist. I'm crazy. Did I let the compost garden get carried away? Of course I did. Yeah, the winter was a rough one on the compost garden. It's shameful, but like, let's take a look at what's happening because we're about to clean it up. Like, there's so many ants in here. Like, it's crazy. Which is nuts.
Are you videotaping me?
Yeah.
Why?
Essentially what like our current societal standards say that your purpose is just to exist, to survive, and to be like everybody else. When there really is no everybody else, like that's a concept that was made up because it's easier to market and it's easier to turn people into consumers if you make them identify with certain groups. To me, that's how the universe works. You can continue to ignore the signs and the messages that, you know, a change needs to occur, but at the end of the day, the universe isn't going to stop squeezing you until it becomes to the point where you must change. To me, this is a must. This is a must that's happening that we need to begin to really trust ourselves and investigate what that means. The first step is really recognizing like what is not you. Conditioning, programming, all of these things that have been put into place really before you could even have an understanding. Like before you could talk, you've been programmed to think a certain way. Before you could even understand what's going on in life, you've been conditioned to be a certain way. And all of that conditioning and all that programming just kind of continues to run if you don't interfere with it. It continues to run your whole life. It touches every aspect of your life. Be careful. Cuidado.
What up, love? How's your first day of walking going?
It's nice. In America, I would say one of the biggest overarching things that you're conditioned to believe is that you are not enough, that you're not enough and you never will be enough. The moment that you can recognize that that isn't true and that that is something that has been placed there, a false narrative, a false programming, a corrupted programming. The reasons we don't trust ourselves is because we have all been cut off from our own instincts, our own desires, our own instincts. Your intuition, I mean, you can have other words for it, but I call it my intuition. It's like your internal compass, your internal guide map. There has never been another me. There never will be again. There isn't another me running around somewhere who I can ask about, hey, how do I do this in my life? What I just said for myself is true for everyone. There's no other you. There's no other you that you can ask, hey, where do I turn when I come to this fork in the road in my life? No, there's no other you. There never has been, there never will be again. You're a one-of-a-kind, limited edition. And so why would I try to take someone else's map that they've drawn for their life or that they're following for their life and try to make it work for mine? It doesn't. It doesn't. But yet and still, we're still made to believe that other people outside of us, other entities, whether that is society, whether that's a religious doctrine, whether that's our family, whether that's our culture, that they somehow know better than us where to go and what to do. I think you can see just how I'm explaining it, how silly it really is on its face, yet we all do it. We all do it. We all trust what's outside of us more than we trust what's within us. When you realize that that has always been a false narrative, that that's something that you've been made to believe so that you could be a good pawn, that you could be a good cog in the machine, a good consumer. That's the moment you can start to unravel the whole story. That's when you can really start to say, oh, it does make sense for me to listen to myself first and listen to the other minutia never. I mean, it's easier said than done, just like most things that I talk about. It's easy to say them, it's easy to identify them, it's harder to implement them. But you have to begin to trust your internal guidance, where you're being directed, what resonates with you, what do you believe is true? If you want to talk about like our current political system, and I'm not going to get on here, don't get nervous. I'm not here to talk about candidates or parties or any of the nonsense, because it is just that, it's nonsense. I sincerely hope that our political system collapses on itself. Too bold? Stick around because there's more coming. When I look at our political system, the way that it was set up was for you to commit to an identity, to identify with one team or the other. When in reality, I know it's not that simple. There's no nuance in our political system. It's just like, well, do you think this or do you think that? And then cheer for your team to win. What nonsense. What absolute nonsense. People are so much more nuanced than that. Why are you making me believe that just because someone has different ideologies than I do, that they're somehow my enemy? Why do I need to have vehemence against people who have different experiences than I do? Why? Why do I need to root for a winner just because they might be affiliated with other people who are like-minded as I am? Is that really something in common? I hope you can read between the lines of what I'm saying here, which is that it's bogus. It's once again marketing and consumerism. There's nothing more successful than like turning us against one another. Make yourself believe that like you identify somehow with this person so that you can root for that person. I'm going off on a tangent when it comes to politics. What a surprise. Bagging it up. He's the king of talking shit and then backing it up. Florida Navy base. Stolen valor. Pretty brown eyes. But it goes hand in hand with my theory for life. You can't hate someone without hating your own self. The core of any hate, it's never, you can project it outwards, but it always starts right here with you. So this idea of breeding hate and discontent within the masses, within society, that keeps us all hating ourselves and resenting our own selves, even if we think we're directing that hate somewhere else. Also making you believe that you are somehow incapable of making choices for yourself, that you lack the wisdom, that you lack the wherewithal to make decisions for your own self. You have to trust yourself. Your internal guidance will never lead you astray. I don't have regrets in my life. Like, there's nothing that I look back and think, oh, like I really regret that, because I see how everything had to happen the way that it did to set the stage for everything else. You can't take one piece out. It's like a house of cards. You can't take one card out and expect the rest not to fall. Everything had to happen the way that it is. So I don't believe personally in having regrets. But when I look back at my life and think of things that I did that if I could do it today, how I would do it differently. All of those things have to do with the fact that I did not trust myself. I felt something internally, which was to go left, and instead I went right. I'm not proposing that if all of us followed our internal guidance that it would be some perfect utopia. The way that we build something that's larger, that's for the greater good of all of us, is that we begin with our own selves. And trust in ourselves is crucial. You can't think that somebody else knows better for you than you know for yourself.